Alright, here is your first assignment. It's about absolute value, ordering integers, and zero pairs. Okay, we're going to do this whole page. Okay, I'm going to do some with you. I'll do one in each group to help you out, and maybe I'll get you started a little bit down there on number 24. Okay. I remember when I was in school, I'd see a bunch of words and I'd get intimidated and think, oh, that means it's a tough one. Well, it's not if you can break down those words into just smaller parts and not pay attention to the whole thing. Okay? Pay attention to one thing at a time if you can. All right, so 1 through 4, we're just comparing greater than, less than, or equal to. I would normally ask y'all to pick one out and tell me which one you want me to do, but, well, you can't do that. So let's do, let's see here. Which one would give y'all a problem? You know what? Let's do number 3. Okay. Number 3. First off, don't forget absolute value. These lines, only pay attention to what's on the inside. Okay. So number 3, we got -12. I don't see anything around it though. Okay. So the value of that is -12. However, right here, it's asking what's the absolute value of -2. And remember, that means how far from 0. Remember the Austin and Waco thing. Direction doesn't matter. Okay, it's just how far it is. So how far is -2 from 0? It's 2. 2 from 0. So, comparatively, -12 and 2. Is -12 greater than or less than 2? It's less than, right? So, -12 is less than 2. Okay? So, what you can do is look inside the absolute value and just focus on the number, and that's it, and that's what it is. Okay? If you look at number 4, some of you may try to change 16, the absolute value of 16. Well, how far is 16 from 0? It's 16. Okay, so don't put a negative on there. It's not the opposite. It's just how far it is. All right. 5 through 10, we're just putting in order from least to greatest. Okay, from least to greatest. So let's think. I'm going to draw something over here. I'm going to put North Belton at 0, and we're going to have some things above and some things below. Okay, taking trips from North Belton. Okay, so above would be a positive number like north, or below would be a negative number like south, like going to Austin. So why don't we just go ahead and do number 7? So -46 would be down below, right? Be down here. And then we have 16, which is a positive number, so it'd be up here somewhere. And then we have -21. Oh, I'm sorry, there's not a 6 there. There we go. -21 for the third value. So is -21 going to be below -46, or is it going to be in between 0 and -46? Well, it's going to be in between. Okay, so we are ordering these from least to greatest. Least to greatest, so the further below, the smaller it is. So -46, -21, you just work your way up, and +16. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more of these, and I'll use it as a number line instead. So if we do it as a number line, we've got 0 here, and I'm just looking at number 9 here. So let's say we have, slide this over, -50 and +50. Okay, it's like a poor man's number line. I'm not going to put all the digits in there. It's just something to help us to compare. All right, so where would 10 be? It would be somewhere over between 0 and 50. You can get probably kind of close. 10, and then we've got -42 and -45. Well, which one's going to be closest to -50? the negative 45 is. It doesn't have to be in the perfect place. And then negative 42 is in between 0 and negative 45. It's negative 42. Okay? Oh, geez. Well, least to the left, greatest to the right. So we've got negative 45, negative 42, and 10. Negative 45, negative 42, and 10. Okay? Number 11 through 14. Find the additive inverse of each integer. I know some of y'all right now are like, what? Additive inverse? You didn't even talk about that once. There's a reason. Okay? Additive inverse is a very fancy word for zero pair. Okay? So additive, we're going to add something. Inverse to be inverted to means like flip something upside down. Okay? Think of like a plane, like a fighter plane, like flying along, and if they get inverted, all they do is just flip upside down. Okay, so honestly, what it means is it's just very fancy for the opposite. Okay, the opposite, because if we have a zero pair, which is the same thing as a zero pair. Zero pair. And guess what they equal when you combine zero pairs? Yeah, 0. That's right. Alright, so find the additive inverse of each integer. So additive, I'm going to do number 11. So let's just write down negative 23, because that's what there. If we were to add something to it, and we wanted it to equal 0, what would that be? Well, what's the opposite of 23? Excuse me, negative 23. I just gave you the answer. The opposite of negative 23 is positive 23, and that equals 0. So your actual additive inverse, which I guess is probably all you could really write and get it correct, is positive 23. Okay. Let's do 14. So by now you're already like, oh, I got this, Mr. Bonnet. You can stop, or Coach Bonnet, you can stop. Okay. So we're at 57, and you just invert it. You turn it upside down, and additive. What's the opposite of 57? Negative 57. Guess what they equal? Because they are zero pairs. They equal 0. Okay. 24. At a ski resort, the low temperature for 5 days were Monday was 13 degrees, Tuesday was negative 15, Wednesday was negative 18, Thursday was negative 6, and Friday was 7. We're going to use greater than, less than, or equal to. Actually, that's less than, greater than, or equal to compare the low temperatures on Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, so Tuesday and Wednesday, all you're going to do is to compare them. Okay, what I want you to do is get a little number line here. Put a 0, maybe put a negative 20, and a positive 20, and work on comparing those. Those are the only two that you have to compare. Then you have to list all those numbers in least to greatest. Least to greatest. Okay, so really you have 2 questions, okay, on here. So go ahead and do the comparison right here, and then put them in least to greatest order on that line. Okay? All right. The next page was adding integers. Now on this one we're going to do, let me think here, when is this happening? Wednesday and Thursday? I think we're going to do the evens. But you may, you need to, if your teacher tells you to do the odds or something else, you need to do that, okay? If you are at a different school and you're watching this video and you go into class and you say, Coach Bonnet said just do the evens, you're going to get me in trouble, and I don't want that. Number 1 and 2, you're going to use a number line. We did that in our notes. To find each sum, I'll do number 1 with you. No. Yeah, I'm going to do number 1. I'm not going to do the ones that you have to do. So I'm going to start, if I read from left to right, I'm going to start at -1, and I'm going to go a +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is 4. I'm pretty sure it gives you the answer right there. I don't know why it has that dot on there. So I'm guessing the answer to number 2 is -2. Yeah, well, there's a free answer for you right there. Number 3, remember, if they have the same sign, I want you to picture 51 negatives in this bowl, and you put 9 more negatives in there, okay? So then how many negatives do you have now? Or if you think of the apple and oranges thing, apples were negative, so I've got 51 apples right here, and then I'm going to take 9 more apples and put them in there. How many do you have? Okay. Also, the whole absolute value thing. Actually, absolute value is not really going to help you very much on here, but I guess it could. Both signs are negatives, so you're just combining more and more negatives, so that means your answer is going to be negative. Now, how many do you have? 51 plus 9, 60. Okay. Let's go to number 9. So those parentheses, they're not there for anything except for to make you understand that it is not, it's just showing you that the negative goes with the 23. Okay, like on number 8, that parentheses is there to just tell you that, hey, this negative is with that 15. Okay, so number 9, what do you have more of? Do you have more negatives or more positives? You have more negatives, right? So that means your answer is going to be negative. How many more of those do you have? So this is where it can get a little weird. How many more? What does that sound like? What operation does that sound like? It sounds kind of like subtraction, doesn't it? I know. How are we going to take addition and turn it into subtraction? Whenever you say how many more do you have, it means to subtract. So if I have 23 negatives and 9 positives, it's how many more. Always think about that. How many more do I have? How about, let's do number 11. -17 and +11. How many more do I have? What do I have the most of? What do I have the most of? I have more negatives than I do positives. That means my answer is negative. Now, how many more negatives do I have? What's the difference in 17 and 11? 6. Y'all got this. If you're in my class, we did substitution the other day. The instructions say evaluate E plus F. So that means every one of these problems is just adding. And it's going to be E plus F. This is called substitution. If your teacher's not there, who takes their position for the day? A substitute. Okay? We're going to do E plus F. Well, if E equals 9, E can't be there that day, so 9 fills in. Okay? And if F equals -24, F can't be there that day, so -24 fills in. We're just substituting. Okay? We're just substituting. And to evaluate means to, it's a fancy word for solve. Okay? So if we look at this one, what do I have the most of? You should be getting this by now. It should be clicking in your head. What do I have more of? I got more negatives. So that means my answer is negative. Okay, how many more negatives do I have than positives? Well, what's the difference in 24 and 9? I believe it's 15. So it's -15. Okay. I would like for you to do number 21 and 22. Break it down one little thing at a time. Focus on the question at the end. And email your teacher or any questions you have.